Okay. Hi, this is Stacia, and today I'm going to show you a training game that I played on chess.com. I'm on the road, well, I'm climbing to 1800, trying to climb up this mountain, but I've slipped a few times. Not to be unexpected. So, this opponent was rated over 1700, and well, let's see what happened. I played e4. I was happy to have the white pieces. And c5, the Sicilian. I'm always so happy to see the Sicilian because I can play d4. Takes, takes. Okay. Knight c6, knight f3. And what we have here is a Smith-Morra gambit. And my opponent has elected for the Sicilian dragon type defense. And, well, in Mayhem and the Morra, Mark Esserman says it's important to cut the head off the dragon. This is supposed to be the dragon. Actually, isn't this the head? Maybe he just has a saying, but usually it means we're going to elect for an early e5 and make this d6 move kind of hard to accomplish for black. So let's see what happens. Bishop c4, bishop g6, e5. Yeah, and this move, probably anyone at 1700 is going to know that this is a trick. You probably shouldn't take the pawn. And I will use the computer to help me with this part. Actually, no, I won't. I'll turn it off. If they do take, we can simply take, bishop f7. And then we have this nice queen d5 check. And this is a fork. So that's quite nice. Now, black could blunder because the only way to hold on to the bishop is to play this move. And this loses on the spot. Basically we go check and the king. I mean, you can already tell this is one of those like king walk situations. Okay, this king is getting checkmated. This game's pretty much over. But usually they will have to step back or something. Like step there. Yeah, usually they do this and give the bishop back. These are very interesting games. This is not losing for black, but I do like playing them as white. I'll see what the computer says. Wow, it says white is quite a bit better here. Kind of surprised. I didn't know this was that good for white. It says queen f6 is the best, but here we can go queen g3, and I've even had a tournament game in the Tuesday Tussle that went like this, and I did win that game. Okay. So anyway, all of that is why they cannot take the pawn. So they played e6. I think this is the more normal move. I'm going to check the opening book. Wow, knight h6. All right, there's not a whole lot of games in this position. I guess my e5 move is a bit ambitious. It actually kind of scores well for black, but it's not clear why. And if I check the computer, it says that white is slightly better here, even after knight h6, which is the main move. Wow. All right, I've never seen this, so I want to look at it. Knight to h6, I would probably castle. Or would I? They're stopping my idea. Do you see that? There's no bishop takes f7 anymore. Now it says I should castle anyway. Wow. So can they take the pawn now? I mean, I would think they can, but I don't see it. So let's learn something. All right, I will take. Oh, of course. They can't do that. We take the knight. So it doesn't stop the threat. They still can't take on e5. Okay. Well, let's get back to the game. That's pretty interesting though, that knight h6 move. I've never seen that. Okay, so in the game, I'll turn the engine off and explain my thoughts. Here I went queen e2. So the thing is, I did push my pawn. It is hanging, so I defended it with queen e2. I figured this was fairly reasonable. It defends my bishop, and once I castle, I've made room for rook d1, a classic Mora move. Queen a5 was played. And I'm pretty sure they're trying to collect the pawns. They have 3 guys on this. That's a lot. So I do have bishop f4, so I played it. And then they went knight h6 here. Yeah, kind of a weird looking move, but clearly they want to castle. And knight f5 is an annoying move to face. Sometimes I play the move g4, even though I castle kingside in these lines. Just because knight f5 is annoying. So, I castled. Yeah, and I realized after I castled, I was like, well, they could go knight g4 and add yet another attacker to the pawn. But this feels a little desperate to me. Like, their king is not castled. They're not fully developed. This rook's in the corner. I'm fully mobilized on the other hand, so this is a lot of tempos for a pawn. So what to do? I mean, I can probably sack the pawn. I think here I considered knight b5. And that seems interesting. And I also considered rook to e1, adding another defender to the pawn. I'm giving up on rook d1, but on the other hand, I like my position after rook e1 because I'm threatening to move my knight and take this knight. So I think, you know, unless you can win this pawn, like knight g4 is good if you win the pawn, and if you don't, knight g4 is not good. Where's this knight ever going to go? So I played rook to e1. Now let's see what the computer says about it. Wow, and knight b5 is somehow better. But those are the 2 top moves, so I'm glad to see that. Also knight e4. Yeah, which would sack the pawn, but... Okay, knight b5, I thought he would castle here, which the computer agrees. And then I thought he could take my pawn. I was going to play rook fe1 here, but it actually wants h3. So this means he could take the pawn, right? Actually, no, he can't. After h3, I mean, that's part of the point of knight b5 is it blocks the queen's attack on the pawn. But I thought he had something here. What? Maybe this? Because I don't have knight c... Whoops. I don't have knight c7. And I can sink my knight in, but it's not doing anything just yet. Like, can't he just win the pawn now? Okay, let's find out why he cannot take the pawn. I mean, let's use the knight that's attacked and take a pawn. Now my knight's a little loose, although I'll likely have time to play rook d1, but let's find out. I would take. Oh, wow. There's an intermezzo right here. There's an intermezzo. It's the move b4. Which I don't understand. b4. We're going to distract the queen. Or the knight. Both of these pieces are on e5. Wow, that's pretty interesting. So it says they should take the knight. This is kind of a bailout move, you know? But then win the b pawn. Actually, they can't. I'm on the rook. Wow, look at that. And even in this situation, this is good for white, I would think. It says even, but yeah, I like this. Queen g5 is next, I guess. Then I would take the rook. So black has pawns for the exchange. Interesting. Interesting ideas here. Okay, but in the game I did not play knight b5. I played rook f to e1. So I'm just simply defending the pawn. It's a little more straightforward. And I'm saying, hey, if you can't win that pawn, then what is your knight doing here? Like, I'm going to play h3 and you're going to, what, fall back? Like knight h6, queen e3. I thought something like that. So, he surprised me here with this move, g5. But I'm pretty happy to see this. I feel like, you know, moves like this are reserved for when you have better development. And since I'm the one with better development, if the position gets crazy, it's way more likely that the tactics will work in my favor. So I did take this. And now that did remove a defender from my pawn. So that was his idea. But now knight b5. Let's see if this is the best move. It's second best. It likes bishop takes e5 first. Let's try to find out why. So bishop takes e5. I thought he would take with the knight, is what I thought. But if knight takes, computer says we play queen h5. This is temporarily guarded by the knight. But that's pretty scary, isn't it? Because we're threatening this. Takes, and if the queen takes back, we play check. Here. Well, the bishop's guarded by the knight, or by the queen, rather. So what's the idea there? So probably this is not the move. It says h6. Threatening to take the knight. Okay, well, sorry, I'm digressing worse than I used to. But I'm kind of happy that I see further in the variations than I used to also, but hopefully this isn't annoying for you guys. Okay, castles, knight g5 here, here, I did take. Now knight b5. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know about this. So here he took the bishop. Now, the bishop is guarded by the queen, okay? And, so I could take back with the queen at the very least. But I also have the option of knight c7 check. Okay, that is a fork. And, well, I mean, why not? I played knight c7 check. So it turns out this does work. Again, though, the computer prefers queen h5. Wow, I have to remember that sometimes you can threaten checkmate and it could be beneficial. So, I mean, I would think here, I wouldn't play this move because of castles. Oh, that doesn't work. Checkmate. You cannot castle. Okay. So I guess it's actually fairly awkward for black to defend this threat. Yeah, it certainly is. Wow. So I like queen h5. It says rook f8's like one of the only moves. Or knight d8. Okay, let's do knight d8 because I'm guessing that black would really want a castle still. But after knight d8, wow, it says knight takes h7. What? What the heck? Knight takes h7. I guess now the king is running out of squares, perhaps. I mean, I'm never comfortable like stepping into a pin like this, but maybe the idea is knight c7 check, and then the king cannot come to f8 anymore. It would have to come up, and then we could check, perhaps. Oh. Actually, do you see this? I'm threatening check, and then... Oh, I cannot take this yet. The knight's still guarding. Wow. Well, these are some interesting ideas. I mean, it's saying that black should just sack the exchange, but... That looks insane to me. Stops black from castling, too. It's kind of funny. I mean, what if they go here? Like, move the knight, lose the queen. Now it says knight c7 check. King e7. And knight d5 check. I have no idea what's going on anymore. I think the computer is using the pin. Wow, and it wants to sack the queen because he cannot go here. And if he goes here, then what? If he goes here, a quiet move, rook ad1. Okay, that's too much for me. Rook ad1. I mean, I would play this probably. But now it says bishop takes a1. I mean, white's still winning. I mean, I would take here. Oh my god, look at this. Checkmate. Good thing I didn't play this line. Wow, okay, I mean, there are so many tricks and tactics in the Mora. It's just insane. I mean, just chess in general, wow. Okay, so let's get back to the game, but I really enjoy looking at those lines, so... Take. Okay, knight b5. Okay, so I did not play queen h5. I checked on c7. It is a fork. And I figured, you know, I'm probably going to bank some material. Knight c7 is kind of an intermezzo because I can take the knight. And if here, I mean, I can still win that. I think. So I thought this was all pretty good. So I did take here. And they played this, which seems very greedy to me. I would actually call that a mistake because you're just helping my rook get into the game. I mean, pawns are not important at this point. You're under so much pressure. And I'm threatening the rook, so... Yeah, so they played this move, attacking my queen. But here I saw I had bishop d6 check, which I think is very strong. Forcing the king this way. And now I can play queen g4. The computer wants queen f4. Likes that a little bit better. But queen g4 I think is fine. I mean, I have some pretty scary threats now. Discoveries. So he went bishop g7, blocking that out. And what should I do as white now? Let's see. I mean, I can take the rook. That seems pretty straightforward. But it does feel like there's probably more than that here. Wow, like the computer wants to take on e6, which actually does make sense. I actually have 3 attackers on e6. Oops. Sorry. Not doing very well with my arrows, but it's also very tempting to just take material. So I did this. This is a simpler way to win, right? So H5, which I thought might happen, but no problem. I'll just step out. Knight D8, because that's threatening checkmate. Yeah, and here I thought Bishop C7 I was planning, and it looks so good, doesn't it? I'm attacking the knight, which is defending mate. I'm also attacking the queen. So I'm really not sure what they should do here. So they played this. Now, I thought I could move my queen. I actually thought about queen f3, but then after here and back, I thought maybe this is... Actually, what am I talking about? He would take, right? What was I planning? Oh, I was planning this move. But then I was afraid of this. Yeah, that does not work. I could still take the queen. None of this works. But I didn't go for that. I actually just took the queen and I calculated this. Because after rook check, bishop blocks, I can actually take the knight. So I win more material. So that happened. And now king g7. But, you know, I mean, this is always a good scenario when you have this going on. Even if it's a trade, like even if I take here and it's a trade, I'm winning. So I got my knight back in the action. Yeah, and bishop here, so I can take the rook now. And now, sadly, from my opponent, when he takes back, it's actually a check. And that's a fork. So I'm up a lot of material and I just won even more. So my opponent, sadly, instead of resigning here, he waited like 10 minutes and then resigned. Hate it when that happens. So I did report him to chess.com. I feel bad, but I don't have time that I can just sit around and do nothing. So I did report him. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this game. I mean, it was a pretty swashbuckling, like, crazy game. And this is in my new style with one of my new favorite openings. I guess I've been playing it for 2 years now. Not so new. But maybe that's why I'm getting better at it. So let's go ahead and look at the key moments and see if my analysis was correct. I mean, I'm sure g6 is a book move. I don't know what the computer's talking about. Bishop f4 is a mistake. Wow. So I had better here. I have better here. What could it be? I could castle and sack the pawn. That might be what's going on. So I'll try that. Yeah, it likes it better than bishop f4. But that's still not it. What could it be? Maybe it's knight b5 right now. Yeah, it probably is, because this king is not ready to castle. And that means knight d6 will come with check. So, whoa. Oh, he's pinned. I can't play that. So it's probably bishop d2 then. It is. Yeah, bishop d2 with the threat of knight b5. So let's say that black plays something normal here, like knight g to e7. This move usually makes sense because the knight likes to come here. Now we go knight to b5. And, well, I would expect castles here. Oh, but I get it now. Bishop d2 means that he cannot castle. He has to move the queen, and now I'm going to get knight d6 check. Yeah, it wants queen b6, but knight d6 check. This is usually bad news because now this king will never castle. King f8. I mean, I have better development, and this king is now, you know, awkward. So, wow, that's really cool. I like that suggestion by the computer. So, bishop f4, not as good, but, you know, this position's fine still. It says castles is a game changer. It likes my castles move. Okay. Wow, and it just like sped to the end. So, yeah, if you look at the graph, it says white got an early advantage. It only dipped down when I played bishop f4. And then after that, it looks really good. Like white just keeps going up and up. The report is 98.0% accuracy for me. It says I had one mistake, and it was bishop f4. So I guess I'll make a flashcard of that one. And my opponent had 4 mistakes, 4 inaccuracies. So, yeah, I mean, I probably said this before, but this is why I love playing like this more active or attacking style chess. When I would play the old way, it seemed like even 1300s could play a game with no mistakes and draw me on occasion. Like, but when you make the position crazy and complicated, even a 1700 will make 4 mistakes. Look at that, 4 mistakes. Now, I often will too, but I'm trying to get better at that. So, you know, very great game. I love this game. I'm going to make a flashcard and, well, thanks for watching. Oh, and my rating is 1726. So I'm kind of on my way. Let's hope that I can continue. And, okay, that's all. Have a great night. Bye.